Awesome. This is my favorite part of webinars, when you see the attendee number start to go up and you see all the fun people who are joining us. Welcome, David, Eric, Janet, John, Linda, Tony, Jenny. I can't read that fast as they come in. Welcome to the webinar.
You should be a talk show host, Greg.
It would be a terrible talk show. Hey, everybody in the chat, if you're getting here, tell us where you're calling in from today. So I'm in Northern Virginia, out in McLean. Julie, where are you today?
I am in Roslyn, in our headquarters at A2.
And I am way out in frosty Chicago.
Ooh, frosty Chicago.
Yeah. We got some snow, kind of feels like the holidays.
Ooh, calling from the mountains, very nice. Yeah, we got some snow here in Northern Virginia last couple of days. That was our first good snowstorm in a while. Welcome from Alabama. We're going to give it a minute or two for all the attendees to show up, and then we'll go ahead and jump in and get started. We're really excited today to present this to you. We think we got a lot of great content for you about meetings. Tallahassee, welcome.
Tallahassee. All right, we ready to kick off?
Let's do it.
All right. So I want to welcome everybody to the major meetings hosted by Association Analytics. Today, we will be talking about applying data and analytics to associations, meetings, and events, right? That's the big topic, is meeting and events. Today, I'll be moderating. I'm Julie Shulo, CEO of Association Analytics. We also have Greg, who was introducing everybody and welcoming them to the webinar. He is our VP of Sales and also has some history in the event technology space. And Ginny Graves, our Senior Product Owner. So really excited to hear about them, talking more about how we're expanding upon Acumen's events and diving into all aspects, hybrid, virtual, when in-person comes back, and really the flexible, dynamic tool that you could use and things you should be measuring. But first, as many of you know, I always like to have a just for fun. So let's take a little pause and share with us in the chat some of the things that you're hoping to get or give this holiday season.
What is on your Christmas wish list? What's going to be under the tree on Christmas morning? So I'll share. I've got an interesting one. Spending time with family. We've been quarantining for so long. We've made sure everybody's safe. We're going to head up to Baltimore and spend some time with my parents. Haven't seen them in quite a while, but we've all been quarantined, so we feel like we're pretty safe.
Nice. What about you, Ginny?
Yeah, I'm hoping to get some nice new pots and pans for all of the quarantine cooking and baking I've been doing.
Nice. I also got a really great idea from a customer. They may be on here. They are each picking their favorite charity and donating to that. So I thought that was a really nice idea for the holidays as well. So hopefully everybody's getting excited for this holiday season. I know in DC we had some snow, certainly getting ready for the holidays. So really quick, who is Association Analytics? I know we have many customers on the phone today as well. We're located here in Arlington, Virginia. We are the data people and we focus just on the association space. We have 100% client retention, a SaaS suite of products and services, Acumen being the star, and out-of-the-box integrations. And so plug and play, which really comes into play when we're talking about the event stack and the event data that you have spread throughout your ecosystem. And why now? Why is this so relevant? Not only has our events been turned upside down, but also there's been a huge increase in the demand of data. And so we've seen a 42% increase in overall usage of data and a 70% increase from the executive usage. And one of our customers said it so wonderfully that the increase has been so tremendous. She, as the data analyst, is now invited into every executive meeting, board meetings, and there is a transparency around data like never before, which has really helped their organization, specifically in member retention and event retention. So really exciting to hear that data is playing such a role in our space. So what are we doing today? And what are we hoping to accomplish? So use data as an asset to create better events, right? That's what we want to do. We were thrown for a little bit of a loop where we couldn't have in-person meetings. And so figuring out how does virtual fit in, what does the future look like, understand what attendees and sponsors want, and we can do that using data, and we're going to show you that today. Improve overall customer experience and engagement, something that we always want to do, but I think in the virtual world, that becomes really important and now very trackable. We have data like we never have before. And then more profitable events. And so before we might have just looked at that revenue number, and now we really need to take a step back and look at what's profitable, because maybe, you know, we're not spending money, right, on these big venues. We don't have food to serve. And so our bottom line can look a lot more attractive. And so we might have to change our goals and our KPIs and adjust those in this world. And so we're going to give you some ideas on what those might look like, and also want to hear from you on what those metrics that you are looking at or would like to look at are.
Julie, can I add a secret one here? I want to add a secret fourth bullet point to what we're doing today.
Yeah.
I'm going to add embracing virtual and hybrid events. You know, I've had a lot of conversations over the last couple of days about virtual and hybrid events with association executives. And one of the themes that keeps coming up time and time again is we were afraid to do a virtual event because we thought it would cannibalize our physical event. We thought people wouldn't come in person if we were offering it online. And I feel like COVID has given us a kick in the butt to embrace that digital transformation and take on virtual conferences and hybrid events. And what the data is showing us is that that's not actually the case. Instead of cannibalizing our physical exhibit space and attendees, what we're doing is we're increasing the pie. And what I'm really hopeful for is when we go back to having more physical events, people are still going to want to meet in person. The value of face-to-face is still going to be there, but hopefully we've actually increased the revenue we're going to be able to generate from these, that we continue to offer these hybrid events forever, because there's some people who can't travel this year, or there's some people who just don't want to go face-to-face, but we can expand the pie to them. So I think one of the things we're doing is actually strengthening our events by leveraging the virtual and hybrid events and coming out of this more profitable than we went in. So I wanted to add that secret fourth bullet there.
Funny you should say that. I was just talking to a customer yesterday, an association located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and this was exactly true for them this year and their projections for next year. And so what they were able to do is quickly pivot their annual, as I'm sure many of you on this call have done, their big meeting. They pivoted that to virtual, and then they dug back through the data and realized there was a whole new audience that they reached that they wouldn't have reached otherwise, right? So we're starting to see a lot more attendees come into our ecosystem, and some of those individuals, right, and using data, you can determine this, are going to continue to want to engage with you virtually. And so, you know, their profitability was nearly what it was last year for their in-person event. So that was tremendous kudos to them being able to pivot so quickly. And then hopefully in the beginning of next year, we can actually have them on and talk to them a little bit more, because I bet some people in the audience want to ask some questions of them. And then next year, their projections, because this is a new revenue stream for them, they will be looking at more profitability. And so using the data to make these decisions quickly is key to getting some of these outcomes we're talking about. It's a great point. In the future of events, I think everybody agrees with this, that this year exposed everyone to virtual events. And for us, this is a real opportunity in the association space. And we're going to show you how you can take advantage of that today. So really excited to hear from both Ginny and Greg. When we think about the data impacts, how data impacts the success of events, right? There were 4 key areas that we really wanted to focus on today. And we'll do that as we move through. Just to give you a preview, attendee engagement and experience, vital to virtual and in person. We're going to talk a lot about virtual and hybrid, just because I think that's what's on people's minds right now. Attendee retention, certainly. Revenue from sponsorships, that might look different today than it will in 2021 and 2022, but that's okay. We can still compare all of those. And then marketing effectiveness. So we want to know what channels are working, who is going to be our audience for virtual versus in person. What does that perfect mix look like, right? So this is a great story that was really using data to find the right balance for this group. And so when you have all of the data from all of your audiences and from all of your programs, regardless of what that looks like, you can really start to look at and make decisions with confidence. And that's what this group did. So they were able to actually reduce their seminars and webinars, which could be scary to some people. It's like, oh, we want to get something out there all the time because we think that drives engagement. Data can guide us to these decisions that really lead to profitability. And here it was an increase in profit of $400,000. So real money to the association, a huge increase just by monitoring really daily to see what was happening and making these decisions quickly. So with that, let's hear from you in the chat as we dive into some of the metrics and looking at the flexibility and how we might start to make some of these decisions in our event programming going into 2021. What is the one event metric you wish you had or you look at the most? So let's hear from you guys. Throw it in the chat. And as we do that, I'm going to kick it over to Ginny to start talking about what this might look like going forward.
Yeah, thanks, Julie.
We got a couple rolling in. Yeah, so attendance versus registration. I mean, that doesn't change regardless of what venue you're holding it in, virtual, hybrid, or in person, right? I think there's this misconception that we have to change everything because it's virtual. And we really don't. We might change some ways we look at things, looking at profitability instead of just revenue, things like that. But I think looking through what Ginny has to show you and then what Greg has to show you will hopefully inspire some ideas. So keep it coming and go ahead, Ginny.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. And if we can go back one slide prior, that would be great. Up the other way.
Oh, sure.
But thanks, everyone. So I'm really excited to join you this afternoon. My name is Ginny Graves. I'm the Senior Product Owner at Association Analytics. So in addition to working on the development of our product Acumen, I also oversee our product development process. And for those of you who are joining us today who are existing clients, you are well aware of what Acumen is, but for those who are not, Acumen is our business intelligence and analytics tool that we've designed for associations, which is geared to providing a single analytics solution that provides on-demand, relevant, data-guided decision-making. And our vision with Acumen is to address the pain points that your organization has by having to sift through multiple data sources in order to uncover insights. So with Acumen, we bring together multiple data systems and we reduce the need for manual reporting. And we're able to organize data in a way that allows you to spend less time digging through it and more time identifying insights and then acting on them. And one of our big objectives is to empower our users to perform at a higher level by growing revenue, improving reach, driving strategy, all while enabling a culture of analytics. And in enhancing and developing our meetings products, our objectives are to achieve just this. And we do this by getting input from you. So during our product development process, we use some rigorous methods around market research, we do user interviews, and then we all get together and we talk about what our different user personas are, and we develop user stories to ensure that Acumen is going to address all of the most pressing needs for all of the types of people that are using our product. So 2020 provided us with a really unique opportunity to look through our events and meetings products in a new lens and to think about how we can expand our existing major meetings product into something that was going to cover more ground and then fit the needs of this ever-changing meeting landscape that we're in. So today I want to highlight some of these key features of our Acumen Major Meetings products, but first we're going to start with another poll question. So within how many sources does your event data live? And we can, if you can drop your answers in the chat, and then we can go to the next slide. 2, okay. For virtual 3, 2, 3-ish, okay. So, oh, somebody is a 1, 4, okay. So what I'm seeing as a trend is that for the most part, it's more than one. So likely you have one system for registrations, you have another to track sales, you're probably pulling in some data from your AMS, you might be giving out awards at your event and need to have an award management system. You're probably paying attention to social media, looking for those hashtags, seeing what people are saying about your event. And then throwing all this in together, maybe you changed systems a few years back, or you're thinking about changing systems in the future. So long story short, you have a lot of event data, and the event data lives in many different places. And I'm guessing that this is a pain point for many of you at your organizations in trying to bring that all together and identify meaningful insights. So that is where Acumen comes in. And what we have done in Acumen Major Meetings is we have the capability of bringing together all of your meeting data from its different sources into a single place. So your registration data, your sales data, your content management, your social media, we can put it all together. And as a result, we're going to enable you to uncover insights that would have taken you hours in just a mere matter of minutes. But what's even more powerful is by doing this, we're getting your data out of silos. And when your data lives in silos, it's really hard to be able to connect the dots and see the impact that one area of a meeting has on the other areas. But when we bring everything together, we can make those connections and see, if I did this, how does this impact this other element of my meeting? And it allows for just a more robust, holistic analysis. Okay, so you may say that's all great. I've got all my different sources together, but what about the fact that there are so many people within my organization that need to see this data? So we go to our next slide and our next question. Again, drop it in the chat, but how many people need insight into your event data and metrics? And you can say the number of people, or even just the titles or functional areas of the individuals in your organization. 10, yep, 10, oh, 10 plus. Executive level, Anyone else? 6. Okay, so again, I think 5-ish, yeah, I think we're seeing a trend, which is, again, there's a lot of different roles and functions that touch event data, and they're all going to have different needs, and they're all going to want a different level of data. So again, Acumen Major Meetings addresses this, and we can go on to the next slide. But we did the heavy lifting for you. So as I mentioned at the beginning, during our product development process, we identify our different users and the stories or the business questions that they have. So we thought really about who all touches event data. It is everyone from the board chair to the executive director to the event manager to your social media marketing person who's going to need to see some sort of data. And we thought about to what level they need, what different things that they're answering. So our major meetings products really is designed for everyone. It's all of your users, it's all of their different needs, and it's all of their questions. So if you have an events manager who needs to get deep into the weeds, or a board chair who just wants to be able to see a high level KPI and see how you're doing to a goal, Acumen has that solution. So we can go on to the next slide. And just really to wrap everything up, if you want to think about major meetings and you take anything away from today about what the product is, it's this. It is everything that anyone might need to know about your largest shows and meetings at your organization. So a couple of key features about it is dynamic. So whether you want those high level metrics or you want to filter down and see the sponsorship sales from a business to business organization 11 weeks leading up to the event, you can do that. It's also flexible. So it is designed to analyze data for an in-person event, virtual events, hybrid events. If in 6 months from now we learn about some other type of event, you can bet it can cover that. So we really designed it to think about not only where we are today in the meeting space, but where we've been and where we might go, and make sure that it's adaptable to that. And then it's designed to always be relevant on that note. So no matter what your meeting looks like, there's always going to be there's going to be certain types of data that you're going to need to analyze, and that's not going to change. And I also hope that that sticks with you as well, because I know as things change with our meeting environment, we may be feeling stressed about new or different types of data that we have to collect. And while that certainly will evolve, the types of data remain the same. We're always going to be interested in transactional data. We're always going to be interested in demographic data, and we're always going to be interested in behavioral data. And those 3 types of data serve as the foundation for our major meetings products. And that way, rather than think about, oh, I need this other type of data, I can be thinking about how should I be analyzing the data I have given the circumstances I'm in. And we totally took that into consideration while developing this product. So that's a feature that it has as well. And then finally, it covers a lot of ground. So as I said, it's designed to be everything that anyone needs to know. So it's truly holistic, and it considers all of the different moving parts of your meetings. So we're looking at registrations. We're looking at all of your different types of sales, sponsorships, advertising, etc. We're looking at awards, if you have that, attendee engagement, session recommendations, and even more. So I'm really excited to share this for you. And in a second, I'm going to kick it over to Greg, who's going to actually pull up the product and do a demo. But on behalf of the entire product development team at Association Analytics, we are so excited to share major meetings with you. And we really hope that you provide us with your feedback about your thoughts about it and tell us how it's going to impact your organization. So thanks so much, everyone. And I will have Greg take over.
Thanks, Ginny. I want to completely take us off script, and I want to ask a question for you, and maybe Julie can jump in and answer. Types of data, you're breaking it down into transactional, demographic, and behavior. I'm not a data analyst. I don't necessarily understand those differences. Can you give me an example of each one of those?
Yeah, so transactional data is really simple. I register for an event. I purchase a sponsorship at an event. Demographic data may be, what is my member type? What is my job level? Am I an executive? Am I middle management? Am I entry level? And then behavioral data, that's something that's a little bit harder to define. But when we're thinking about meetings, and the other thing I'll add is behavioral data is a little bit different depending on the scope. But when we're thinking about meetings, that's something like, what's driving me to attend the event? Was there a certain campaign that went out or a call to action, and I registered as a result of that? Or while I'm at the meeting, am I behaving in a certain way? Am I somebody I'm going to as many sessions as possible, but I don't step foot in the either virtual or in-person exhibit hall once? So you're really able to say, okay, what is my motivation for attending this meeting? How am I engaging with the different components of the meeting? And that allows you to make some inferences about maybe what do I value as an individual and as an event attendee that will help inform your future meetings.
That's awesome. So let me see if I can figure this out. Greg purchased registration at the event. That's the transaction. Greg is a new member who needs to get certified, who lives in this area and has these demographics. That's the demographic information. And the behavioral is Greg clicked on the third email we sent him, and he registered when we told him about the keynote speaker that was going to be talking about his specific demographic. That's the behavioral information, right?
Yeah.
So a question we might want to answer is, what causes a first-year member to come to our event? The three of those things combined, blending that data together gives me that insight, right?
Yep. And really, when we're thinking about insights and insights that are actionable, it's oftentimes when we're triangulating multiple types of data together and being able to uncover something and say, aha, this is something new to me, or say, I always kind of had that feeling that this is how this worked in practice or in theory, and now I'm seeing it applies in practice.
Awesome. And then unfortunately, those three things are captured in different systems normally, right?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Love that, because that tees us up. And I love all the questions you talked about related to what you were looking to learn about your event, because I'm going to show you some of those exact things. So I want to jump into our meetings product, and I want to walk you through some quick examples of use cases on what I would do with this to get better insights out of my meeting and make better data informed decisions. I'm not going to give everything away today because we have some follow-ups where we're going to dive deep into specific pieces of this, but I want to give some teasers to get you excited about what we're doing here. First up, we talked about who needs to know what's going on with the meeting. Everyone from the board, marketing, the event manager, the membership team, the sponsorship team, all the way down to, you know, the people who are running the event on site need to know what's going on with the event. And to that end, we've created a fantastic meetings overview page. This is all the things you need to know about your big show in one place. And it rhymes, so you know it's good. So here we're going to start with some KPIs, key performance indicators. My annual meeting is 44 weeks away. What do I really need to know? I need to know how many registrations I have this year. Am I up or down compared to last year? What are my dollars in sales? How many partners are coming to this meeting? If it's a physical event, what % to capacity is that trade show floor plan I'm trying to sell? How many individuals are registered? But more importantly, for a lot of people, how many organizations are registered and coming to that event? And are we up or down with those? Then really providing summary level information on each of those to get you excited about what's going on. So behind registrations, I want to know how we compared this year to last year. What's the breakdown of those registrations? Are they members or non-members? Are they regular? Are they early bird? Are they exhibitors? In my sales, what am I really selling? Am I selling the welcome lanyards, the bag inserts, the sponsorships? How is that doing? I want to know things like, how are my exhibitors doing, my sponsors, my advertisers, the capacity of my sponsorship floor plan. And I want to know details about those individuals, details about the organizations that are coming. Now, each one of these pieces is designed to be a summary to get you interested to ask deeper questions, and click on this link and dive into that section where you can ask better questions about your data. The next piece I want to talk about here is registrants. So registrants is all about the attendees who are coming. What type of attendee are they? When did they buy their registration pass? Who are they? And blending all that data together. So as we said, you may have the fact that I purchased the event in one system, but you may have the demographics on who I am as a member in another system. You may have the behavior of me in a third system, and this one place is going to blend all that data together to give you insights into what's going on with your registrations. So when we get to the registration module, the first thing we're going to be presented with is deeper KPIs. So now we're going to have deeper insights into the total number of registrants, the paid registrants, the sales. Are we up or down on all those key performance indicators? Then analytics does a really good job of comparing trends over time. So over the last several years, how has the sales of my event been? Are we up or are we down? And all of this data starts out to be good. It gets better when you get to this filter panel. So this allows me to filter all this information by year, event type. Are they members or not? Is this their first time attending or not? I saw a lot of questions in there about repeat attendees, churn, first year attendees, getting them to register. And I'm going to walk you through some of those things in a minute. The next tab here, and I would be willing to bet you're either doing this in Excel right now or you'd like to, is your days and weeks out analysis, right? Every week before the event, we need to know how we're doing and how we're pacing based on all the previous events. But here's some of the things that Excel spreadsheet can't do. How often do we get in the report meeting and we present the best data ever we put together in Excel, and someone on the other side of the table goes, well, can you show it to me in this way? No, it's Excel. That's not how this works. Can you tell me this about that data? No, that's not how this works. The good news is that is how analytics works. So I don't just want to know my days and weeks out as a running total. What I really want to know is I want to know that data as a count. So show me every week how many attendees registered based on that week's specific data. So now we can start getting to some deeper insights. And what I'm really wanting to know is tell me how we got the most first-year attendees to sign up. In the past, when we attracted first-year attendees to our event, what email did we send out that made the biggest difference to get first-year attendees to come to our event? Now I can start to see the peaks and the valleys in my data, and I can correlate these to the behavior. What email did I send out that week to get those people to register? But more importantly, we use our event to attract new members. So how many first-year attendees were non-members when they registered for our event? What did we do to attract the most people to come to our event and convince them, those non-members, to come? And here back in 2016, we sent a killer email week 25. Let's go track that down and figure out exactly what message we sent then to get to that insight we want now, which is how do we get more first-time attendees who are non-members to come to our event, because ultimately we want them to experience the value of membership and convert to members. So think about how the Excel spreadsheet can't do those sort of things, and think about that insight I was able to get to. That's the power of combining all that data together, and analytics is to give you those answers you're really looking for right there. All right, the next piece I want to talk about, important, always reset your filters. I'm going to jump to the registrant analysis. The registrant analysis is where we start blending the data together about the demographics. Tell me more about these attendees. I really want to know more about their business type, their job function. I want to know, are they members or not? I want to know what type of member they are. I want to know all these sort of things. And one of the main things we do at my conference, my fake conference, is we do credits to maintain your certification. So we have a lot of certified members, and I know some of them, their certifications are expiring soon. So these 1,600 members, their registrations are, their certification is about to expire. What should we do about this? So let's drill through and let's ask better questions of the data. Who are those members who are coming to the event and their certification's about to expire? Well, what we can do is we can get a demographic breakdown of those individuals. And the good news is my event is going to have a pre-conference training you can sign up for. However, you do have to pay extra for the pre-conference training. So how do I entice you to come? Well, we just launched a developer track at our pre-conference sessions. And we're targeting that developer track for people who are nonprofit organizations. If you work for a nonprofit as a developer, you should register for our pre-conference session because you're going to get enough credits to re-up your certification. So as simple as that, I'm able to put together a highly targeted list of attendees at our event who need the additional credits to maintain their certification, and they need to know about that new developer track we just launched for our pre-conference sessions because they're the attendees who are most likely to sign up and register for that. Like, what a powerful use case for analytics, right? This is key. Now, not only that, I also have my filters, right? So I can continue to refine that and target people with my better messaging. We know that marketing works best when we can create target segments where our message is going to resonate the best. Imagine two options. I email literally everybody I have in my address book, hey, there's this pre-conference sessions you can register for and you can pay extra to come. And like 85% of those people could care less about that email. I've just tuned them out of my messaging. On the other side is we can target these people and say, these specific people, You should come to our pre-conference sessions. You need to maintain your certification, and you need to know about our new developer track we just offered. That's the power of analytics in making easy decisions, creating those actionable lists for your marketing campaigns. Such an exciting piece there. Somebody talked about event loyalty. So I want to talk about event loyalty in two ways. One is reset your filters, individual event loyalty. I want to know every year who are the new attendees and who are the returning attendees for that. Not only that, I want to know details about them. Remember those drill throughs, so I can ask better questions about this data just by right-clicking on it. But I also want to know things like, how often do we have repeat attendees come to the event? Did you know that we have 455 people who've been coming for the last 6 years? Let's give them a special badge on their lanyard and celebrate them as being awesome because they continue to attend the event consecutively. Not only that, this next piece gets really hard, is organizational event loyalty. You know, association analytics as a company attends your event on a regular basis, but we send different people every year. One year Julie's going, then we're going to send Dylan, then we're going to send Merritt. It's very hard to track event loyalty from an organizational perspective because you're tracking the registrant at the individual level. So we have this awesome piece called Flow Down, which connects the organization to the person. And we can actually say, did you know this organization sends people every year? They continually send someone to your event, and this year they haven't yet. We need to go find them and get them to sign up so they can come to the event this year. Very cool stuff. All right, I don't want to give too much away about attendee registration, so I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, is sponsorship and sponsorship sales. You know, when I started in the association industry, I worked for an association, and I sold sponsorships and I sold exhibit space at a conference. And if I was lucky enough to get a prospect on the phone who was really interested in coming to their conference, do you know what the next question they would ask me is? Who am I going to get in front of? If I sponsor this event, who are the types of attendees I'm likely to meet when I'm there? And hopefully I just showed you through that demographic breakdown and analysis, you can put together a personalized exhibitor prospectus for each of your sponsors. If you're interested in getting in front of these types of members, we have 1,500 of them coming. And by the way, this is their decision in buying Make It Authority. You can actually put together customized prospectuses for your sponsors and exhibitors. What a cool thing you can do there. All right, but let's talk about exhibit sales. So I want to know a lot of information about my sales. We break it into 3 major buckets. Are you exhibiting? Are you sponsoring? And are you advertising? And how you utilize this taxonomy is kind of up to you, but I'd imagine you sort of have some of these breakdowns already. Am I buying a booth, physical or virtual? Am I buying some sort of other sponsorship package, the gold, the platinum, the silver package? Or am I buying an advertisement in the magazine, the mobile app, the website, the email that goes out beforehand, those sort of things? Now, if I'm going to sell these things to people, I need to know how I should price these, and I need to know who I should target for these types of purchases. So that's where our spend analysis comes in. Who are the types of people in the past, or the types of organizations in the past that have sponsored my event? And if so, what do they typically spend on things? What size booth do they typically spend? How has that changed over time? What's the behavior of them? And then breaking each one of them down. So things like exhibit analysis and exhibitor loyalty, sponsorship analysis and loyalty, breaking all that information down. You know, I'm trying to find a sponsor for this event because I have a couple additional sponsorships to sell. This is a great starting point to look at historically, what types of sponsorships have we sold and who as an organization has typically purchased those sponsorships. And when I finally get that person on the phone, what I would have loved to have had is this organizational history. You get that potential sponsor on the phone, and maybe it's somebody new at that organization you've never talked with before. The person who bought sponsorships isn't there anymore. The new person's there, and they have zero historic knowledge on what they bought in the past. So we can bring this up and we can say, did you know that historically you've spent about $44,000 on booths with us? And these are the types of packages you bought from us in the past. On average, it looks like you're buying a 10 by 20 booth from us, but in the past, you've bought some 20 by 20s as well. Can I convince you to buy that 20 by 20? Can I convince you to jump up from that gold sponsorship to that platinum sponsorship? Because that's what you're most likely to buy. So we can connect all those pieces in one spot to make your sales and marketing team more effective when identifying what's the ideal persona for someone to sponsor our event. What are they likely to purchase from us? What have they purchased in the past? and how do we craft the right message to get them to buy the right thing from us this year. Very cool stuff. I'm looking at the clock, and I want to cover one additional topic for us today, is what's likely to happen in the future. This is some very cool stuff. Analytics not only tells you what has happened or is happening right now in great detail, it can also predict the future on what's likely to happen. I know it's crazy that we can do this, but this is really cool. And the best part about how we do this is math. I love this. We do something called a logistics regression, and I'll break it down for you. What we do is we look at all the people who have come to your event in the past. We look at their behavior, we look at their demographics, and we start to identify trends. What we can find out is that people who do or have these things are highly likely to attend your event. And people who do or have these things, it is a negative correlation. They may not be coming to that event this year, I'm sorry. But the good news is we have a lot of people who are going to be coming to that event this year. So now we tell you the answer to the question is, why would someone come to my event? The answer is because they have these behaviors, they have these demographics. That's why. And then we project out this year who is likely to come to that event. So each one of these bars is a bucket of members. Let's pick two of them. Let's pick this bar on the right. These people, 85% of them are coming to your event this year. Okay? Down here in this bucket, unfortunately, based on their behavior and demographics, only 15% of these people are going to be attending your event this year. So now that we know this information, what do we do with this? Well, one is I can do budgeting, I can do projections, I can plan what's likely to happen this year, how many attendees are we likely to have based on this information. But I can also use this information to change my behavior. And here's the key. We can make data-informed decisions. Let me ask some obvious questions. Should we send people here on the right the discount code so they can register at a cheaper rate for our conference? No, they're going to come. We don't need to take anything off the table. We can send them an email and say, hey, here's the price for the event. You should register. The second question is, should we send people down here in these bottom deciles? Should we send them that glossy brochure we printed that cost lots of money? I'm not saying we shouldn't market to them, but what I am saying is we shouldn't focus our efforts on them. We shouldn't spend additional marketing dollars on those people because they're not likely to attend our event. What we should do is we should focus on these people in the middle. And we call them the changeables. These people are on the fence. They're not 100% coming to your meeting, and they're not coming. They're on the fence. These people we can focus our marketing efforts on, and we can have the biggest return on our investment. We should focus on these people. We should send them that glossy brochure. We might want to include that discount code for them because that might be the reason they haven't attended. We can nudge them over the fence. If we only knew who they were, or if we only knew the breakdown of those individuals so we could target them with better marketing, we only knew the things they did or the things they didn't do, so we could ask them, hey, if you did this next thing, it's going to increase your likelihood to come to the event, right? So if we can understand who's likely to come to our event or not, we can have a huge impact and change our behavior today to increase our event attendance this year. We can send better, more targeted emails, and we can save money by not marketing to people who aren't likely to come to the event at all. So I didn't want to show you everything today because I hope that you're excited about what we're doing here and you want to come back and see the rest of the series. We're going to continue unpacking these topics for you, and we're going to dive deeper into each one of these sections, covering more about attendees, more about sponsors. We're going to open this up and talk about sessions and submissions and abstracts, marketing, all those additional things you're interested in around your event.
Great. Thank you, Greg. And engagement. Don't forget engagement, right?
Oh, engagement. I can't forget about that one. Thank you.
Yeah. And so thank you so much for sharing that with us. We did want to hear from you guys one more time. And what is the one metric you saw that is a must-have or a wow or that stood out to you? It could be something you said in the beginning. We had some great ones come through, such as first-time virtual attendee that never attended in person. So that's a great metric that a lot of people are watching and seeing that number grow tremendously. Again, really exciting opportunity that we have here in the association space. And so how are we taking advantage of that? Are you separating that out? Do you understand how those individuals like to engage? And we have all of that data now. percent registered by a certain date to try to anticipate total real registration numbers. So again, using data to determine this and some of the predictive factors that Greg talked about. So if you have another one that you saw or any questions, we're going to open it up right now and see if you guys have any questions for Greg and Ginny.
We are also very data driven as well. And we're going to make sure if we didn't cover your question or data piece today, that we're going to cover it in our upcoming sessions. So we make sure we cover everything. So what is the metric that we didn't show you today that you're hoping to see? Or what is the one metric today you saw and you said you can't live without? We'd love to see those in the chat. Drop a comment for us and let us know what your thoughts are.
Great. And with that, I think we will close it out. I don't see any other questions. Hopefully everybody got to see everything that they were hoping for. And like Greg said, next year, we're going to continue to unpack all of these, dive a little bit deeper into each piece, and continue the conversation. We do have one that I will share. We had a couple come through. I'll share one or two of them really quickly before we jump off and let you guys go on your Thursday. So make the connection between a person's demographics with the session that they attended. So again, I think Greg hit on that during his session, but we can continue to unpack that as well as the first time virtual attendees, sponsorship, overall engagement. So really excited. Thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to everybody continuing their journey in events in 2021. Like we said, this is a huge opportunity, and it sounds like this community here is really engaged in making this happen for your individual associations. And so would love to help you with that any way we can. Hope you got a good takeaway, a good metric, got to say hello to a friend here today. And with that, we will close it out, and cheers to 2021. Talk to you all soon.